Lauren is going to demonstrate the orange belt pattern in high detail. For step 1, Lauren is going to bring her right foot to her left foot. She's then going to step her right foot forward into L stance. During this step, Lauren has taken her arms behind her, then brings them through to finish with a double knife hand block to the front. The knife hand block consists of a right hand outer knife hand block, palm away, and the left knife hand wrist guarding the solar plexus. After a brief pause, Lauren steps her right leg across into a right leg forward walking stance. At the same time, Lauren twists her body and executes a left hand upper knife hand block, with the right hand retracting back to a traditional punch chamber position. After a brief pause, Lauren executes a right hand traditional punch to her own nose height, followed immediately by a left hand traditional punch to her own nose height. This is the end of step 1 of the orange belt pattern. Step 2 of the orange belt pattern, Lauren finished step 1 in a right leg forward walking stance with a left hand reverse punch to her own nose height. From here, Lauren will execute a left leg front kick to the midsection. Then immediately, she will execute a right leg turning kick to her own head height, placing her leg down, right leg forward into L stance, at the same time bringing her arms through from behind to a double knife hand block. Once she hits the double block, her left leg is then going to turn 90 degrees counterclockwise to form a left leg forward L stance. Once again, her arms come through from behind to form a double knife hand block. This is the end of step 2 in the orange belt pattern. Step 3 of the orange belt pattern, with Lauren's left leg forward in L stance, she executes a left hand lower knife hand block, immediately followed by a right leg front feint turning kick to her own head height. Lauren then reaches forward with both hands to grab her attacker, lifting her left leg to a chamber position and executes an oblique kick, retracting her leg back to the chamber position, and steps it down in line parallel with her right leg. She immediately looks to her right, turns her feet to form a right leg L stance while bringing her arms from behind to form a right hand forward double knife hand block. This is the end of step 3 of the orange belt pattern. Step 4 of the pattern, Lauren steps her left leg forward into L stance while taking her left hand to her right shoulder, palm facing up. She then executes an outer knife hand strike to the neck while retracting her right hand back to a traditional punch chamber position. Lauren steps her right leg forward into L stance while raising her right arm with a 90-degree angle in the elbow. She executes a right hand inner knife hand strike to the neck while retracting her left hand back to a traditional punch chamber position. Lauren steps her right leg across to the left and pivots her hips. She then executes a left leg turning back kick to the midsection, retracting her leg back to the chamber position before stepping her left leg forward into L stance, with her arms coming through from behind to form a left hand forward double knife hand block. After a brief pause, Lauren steps her right leg forward to her left heel, forming a small L with her feet. Lauren then slides her right leg forward to form a right leg forward L stance, bringing her arms from behind through to form a double knife hand block. This is the final step of the orange belt pattern. Lauren will then hold this stance until I call Junbi. In the next clip, Lauren will demonstrate the complete orange belt pattern. She will do this by the numbers at full speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 'Junbi. Let's take a closer look at Lauren's double knife hand block and her L stance. Lauren's left knife hand is pointing straight ahead and parallel to the floor, with her wrist positioned to guard her solar plexus. Her right hand forms an outer knife hand block, and notice that there is no bend in the wrist whatsoever. As we circle the video, you will notice that Lauren's feet form an L. Her front foot points forward and her back foot points across at a right angle. It's important while in L stance that we do not collapse the knee of the back leg. We must maintain an open stance. Now let's zoom in for a close-up of Lauren's knife hand strikes. Lauren's left knife hand comes to the opposite shoulder, her right shoulder, palm up. As she executes the strike, she twists her arm so that she strikes with the palm facing downwards, using the palm heel of her hand. At the same time, her right hand retracts back to a traditional punch chamber position. From the outer knife hand strike, Lauren is now going to execute an inner knife hand strike. She raises her right arm up with a right angle bend in the elbow. She would normally leave her left hand outer knife hand strike out in front while executing the inner knife hand strike as she steps through. But for the video, she retracts her left hand so that we can see in full detail the inner knife hand strike. As she executes the strike, she twists her arms so her palm is facing upwards and parallel to the floor, at the same time retracting her left hand back to a traditional punch chamber position. This is the only strike or block where we use our knife hand and there is a bend in the wrist. Thank you, Lauren.